yoga. Let's get started on our backs today. So come down onto your back. And you can leave your knees bent if you like. Let your knees knock together. Take your feet a little wider than your hips. Or you can lay flat if that feels good in your body. And take a moment to start to draw your attention inward. So maybe closing your eyes or letting your gaze just lower your lids a little, let your vision spread out, softening around the eyes, all the muscles around your eyes. And start to feel your body. Feel those points of contact with the floor. Start to notice if there are any places in your body that are calling out for your attention, maybe tight spots or places where you might be sore or stiff. Could be the usual suspects. It might be a unique experience. Start to notice your breathing. And feel the way your breath moves at your belly. Feel the way it ripples out throughout the rest of your body. Let your tongue come down from the roof of your mouth. If you're gripping in your jaw, see if you can just relax in the jaw a little bit, let that gripping go. And take a moment to check in with your mind. Notice what thoughts are present. See if you can start to detect the flavor of your mind, the tone of your thoughts. Sometimes we just feel these things as kind of the ground out of which our thoughts arise. They have a certain profile to them sometimes. You feel tight, or you feel open, calm or nervous. Just kind of see if you could notice it as a mental phenomenon. And then notice if you can find its corresponding sensations in the body. So let's start to add some shape to the breath now. So on your next inhalation, see if you can make your inhalation a little more full, feeling the low belly rise, followed by the upper belly and the rib cage expands and lifts. How the inhalation takes you all the way up to the top of your collarbones, and then on your exhalation, the process reverses. Your collarbones drop, your chest will drop a little, your low belly will flatten out back towards your spine. So a few rounds of breath like this, making the breath a little thicker, a little more full. Trying to make the inhalations and the exhalations last about the same amount of time. And maybe introducing that ujjayi pranayama and slight constriction at the back of your throat so that you can hear the air passing audibly in and out through your throat as you breathe through your nose. feel ready, start to add some movement back into your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. And then bend both of your knees. Bring your feet down flat on the mat, your heels up close to the base of your body. And extending your right leg long again. Flex through your right foot so that your toes are pointing back up towards your knees. And on your next inhalation, raise your leg up toward the ceiling. And then on your exhalation, lower it down. And we'll just keep moving this way with your own breath. And remember to keep the foot flexed. And try to keep your butt on the ground throughout the duration of the movement. So your right buttock may pick up off the ground a little bit. But try to keep your whole pelvis from rolling up off of the mat. Alright, then bending through the right foot. Let's bring the right foot, sole the right foot down into the mat. And then we'll do the same thing on the left. So each time you inhale, lift the left leg. Remember to keep the ankle flexed so that the toes are pointing towards your kneecap. And try to keep your bottom on the mat. Bringing both feet flat on the mat. Let's pick them up now. Bring your hands to your knees. And fingers are going to be pointed towards your knees. And we'll just make some circles with the knees. It's kind of like you're massaging your pelvis. Down on the mat, low back. And then switch directions. Bringing your feet back down on the mat. Take them a little wider than your hips. Bring your arms out to the side, palms face up. And on your exhalation, let both of your knees drop over to the right. And then inhale back to center. And on your exhalation, let both of your knees drop over to the left. And then inhale back to center. We'll just keep moving this way. Once you've completed an equal number on both sides, roll to your side. Use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to your hands and knees at the front of your mat. Bring your wrists below your shoulders. Bring your knees below your hips. Tops of the feet can be flat on the mat, or you can curl your toes under. And we'll start by just making some circles with the hips. Start to move your torso in a circular direction. Continue breathing. And then switch directions. Coming back to neutral. Let's inhale into cow, and then exhale into cat. to neutral. Take your knees a little wider than your hips. Bring your big toes to touch, and we'll sit back into child's pose. Stretch your arms forward. You can let them be heavy if you like. You can pop up onto your fingertips if you want to activate through the shoulders a little bit. Maybe just take a little movement here, making alternating circles with your shoulders. And gently massaging that space between your forehead down on the mat. And you can leave your hips high, of course. Your knees don't have to be bent as deeply as mine. But let your forehead come down onto something. And switch directions if you're making circles with your shoulders. Alright, come back up to your neutral table. Spread your fingers wide, index fingers are pointed toward the front of the mat, maybe dialed open just slightly, and then when you're ready, curl your toes under and push yourself back for downward facing dog. You're here, pedal out your feet, shift your hips side to side. And then let's find your way back into neutral. So find a neutral downward facing dog. Remember, if this is too much on your wrists, you can do it on your forearms. If this is too much overall, you can even come down on your knees, lift your bottom high, press down through your hands like I'm doing. Continue breathing. And bring your knees back down to the mat, big toes come to touch again. We'll sink back down for child's pose. This time, we'll walk our hands over to the right. Feel that nice long side stretch from your left wrist all the way to your left hip. Let's see what's happening in your shoulder, your rib cage. And walk your hands back to neutral. We'll come back into our tabletop position. When you're ready, curl your toes under, press yourself back again. Second downward facing dog of the day. Start to notice any differences between this dog and the last dog. Make sure you're releasing the crown of your head. So if you're not looking somewhere between your feet or your knees, probably means you're still holding some tension in the neck. Again, if you want to take a little exploratory movement here, you can. Shift the chest forward and back. Maybe bend the knees a few times. And just try to keep your breathing smooth and even. Knees come back down onto the mat. Big toes come to touch. Child's pose again. This time we'll walk our hands over to the left. Walk that right hand over a little further or a little less. Have your palm make good contact with the floor. You can create a little drag to help create that feeling of length from the right wrist to the armpit, from the armpit to the hip. Coming back to the center, let's rock forward into our neutral table again. This time, let's turn the hands so that the fingers face toward the long edge of your mat. And just gently rock side to side, lengthening out through the forearms, taking the wrist into a deeply extended position. bringing your hands back to face the front of the mat. Dial your index fingers open again, curl your toes under, and press ourselves for downward facing dog again. Press yourself back, shift your hips back, lift your tailbone. Heels are heavy, crown of the head is heavy, shoulders are moving away from the ears. Just feeling whatever's arising in your body moment by moment, just noticing it. If you're creating some fight, back off. If there are places where you don't feel much sensation, see if you can bring the energy of the breath to those areas. And then from here, we're going to transition into standing any way you want to transition. So if you want to bend your knees, walk your feet up towards your hands. Meet a bent knee, forward fold at the front of your mat. Release the crown of your head. Bend your knees enough that you can feel your ribs making contact with your thighs. Let the crown of your head go. Inhale, come halfway up, find your flat back. Lengthen out through the crown of your head, lengthen out through your tailbone. Continue breathing. And then on your exhalation, let's bring both hands down to the mat. Return to your forward fold. And then on your next inhalation, let's come all the way up to standing. Reach up for the ceiling. Lift your chest. Drop your shoulder blades. Maybe palms come to touch. And then exhale, mountain pose. All right, let's move the arms a little bit. Inhaling up, lifting the chest. And then exhaling back down. Try to keep from squeezing your shoulders up by your ears when you reach overhead. Next time you exhale, let's forward fold again. Hinge at the waist, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's keep moving that way on your own with your own breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise up, reach up for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. All right, without the cueing this time, move on your own. Let's all meet in this next mountain pose. So from your mountain pose, let's step open into a wide-legged stance. Turn the toes of the right foot to face toward the right side of your mat, the short end of your mat. Keep your back leg straight and strong. Stack your right knee over your right ankle. Extend your arms. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Lift your chest. Try to keep that left shoulder from creeping forward in space. See if you can feel the outer edge of both feet on the mat. Inhale, come on back up. Turn the toes of your left foot, face the short end of the back of your mat. Right leg stays strong. Try to keep that right shoulder from creeping forward. Gaze is steady off the middle finger of the left hand. Breathe in here. Inhale back up. Turn the toes to face the long edge of your mat. Maybe pigeon toe them in just slightly. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. You can slide your hands down along your legs. Bend your knees if you like. You can bring your hands down to the floor. You can bring them down to some yoga blocks if you think that will help. Release the crown of your head. Breathe in here. Inhale, come halfway up. Walk your hands forward, flatten out your torso. Now here, if you didn't want blocks before, you may want them here to put under your hands. Just may feel a little more solid. We're going to bring our left hand underneath the chin. We'll take a twist to the right. Right hand comes up toward the sacrum. Stacking the right shoulder over the left. Continue breathing. Switching to the other side, right hand comes down, left hand comes up. You can reach that left arm up, or you can leave it on the sacrum like I'm doing. Wherever you're at, just keep stacking your left shoulder over your right, continue breathing. Wide, both hands come down to the floor. Warrior blocks, use your inhalation to come all the way back up to standing. We'll step to find the front of the mat, feet about hip width apart. Bring your palms out in front of you. Keep your heels down through the entire motion as you exhale and squat down low. Inhale back up. And move this way a few more times. You don't have to squat all the way down, but the heels like I'm doing. Just keep moving with your breath. Exhalation, let's forward fold. Take your feet a little wider if you like. You can leave your hands on the floor, on your shins. Make sure you bend through your knees if you need to make that good connection with your ribs. And if you like, you can wrap your peace fingers and thumb around your big toe. Release the crown of your head. Resist your fingers back into your big toe. Continue breathing. Releasing both hands down to the mat. We'll step back with the left foot. Bring your left knee, top of your left foot down if you like. Add some padding if you need. If you like blocks for your lunging shape, you can bring your hands to your blocks. You can leave them on the floor. Or if you feel comfortable bringing both hands up to the top of your right thigh, go ahead wherever you're at. See if you can lift your chest and lengthen out your spine a little bit. And let's create a little rocking motion here. So when you exhale, just shift your weight forward a little bit, creating a little more length in front of your left hip, your left quadricep. And then each time you inhale, just shift your weight back a little bit. So we'll exhale forward, and then inhale back. next time you exhale forward, let's take a few breaths here. Remember, your right knee is still going to stay more or less stacked over your right ankle. Keep lifting through the chest. You want to leave your hands on your thigh, you can. If you want to reach up to the ceiling, that might feel good. Breathing here, or maybe bring your hands to your hips or weave your fingers together behind your back. Lift your chest. Continue breathing. All right, bringing your left hand down to the block or maybe to your mat. Take a twist to your right. So extend your right arm. You can leave that back knee grounded. If you want to curl your toes under and pick your back foot off the mat, go ahead. You can breathe here if you want to add a little gentle movement for the arm on your exhalation. Drop your right hand back down toward your left leg and then inhale, reach over your ear. Move that way a few times. Next exhalation, let's bring your right hand down to the floor, or maybe to your block. We're going to step our back foot up to meet the front foot. We'll come all the way up to standing, reach up for the ceiling, lift the chest, and then on your exhalation, release both hands down by your side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift, find your flat back. And then on your exhalation, step your right foot back, bring your right knee, top of the right foot down. You can leave your hands on the blocks, you can leave them on the floor, or you can bring them up to your thigh. Lift your chest wherever you're at. And on your exhalation, shift your weight forward a little bit. And then inhale back. Next time you come forward, let's stay forward, left knee stacked over the left ankle. Feel that lengthening, the right part of the front of your right thigh, your hip. You want to reach up, you did so on the other side, go ahead. You want to reach for your hips or your hands behind your back. Take a bind, it's up to you. Right hand comes down, floor or the block, we'll take a twist to the left. You want to curl the back toes under, it might feel good, it's up to you. You want to add some movement for the arm. Exhale the left hand back down toward the right leg. And then inhale, reach over toward the front of the room. And just move this way with your own breath. Next time you exhale, let's bring your left hand down. If your right knee was raised, we'll drop you back and we'll step back into child's pose again. So let your forehead come down on the mat. Hips can be high, knees can be bent. Just breathing here. This time, turn your palms up toward the ceiling. Press down through the back of your hands. See if you can start to work your thumbs toward the mat. Get your index finger, the top of your index fingers, press down on the mat. Put activation through the shoulders, try to lengthen out through the fingers as you rotate. Continue breathing. All right, then inhaling forward onto your forearms. Let your hips come down toward the mat, lift up through the crown of your head. We're setting up for Sphinx pose here. Elbows underneath the shoulders.
release your butt. You're gripping in your butt, see if you can let that go. Start to notice if you feel that feeling of dumping into your low back, like everything's happening in your low back. See if you can focus on lifting your chest a little bit more and drawing your shoulder blades down the back. Almost as if you were trying to create a tilt to your low ribs to move them toward the front of the room. Move your sternum toward the front of the room. Start to get some movement in that thoracic cavity. We're all real stiff there usually. It creates a lot of problems in our head and our neck and our shoulders. And when you're ready, let's lower back down onto your belly. Slide your blocks out of the way. Palms are going to be flat on the mat underneath your shoulders. On your exhalation, slide your right hand out to the right. Roll to the right any amount. And then use your inhalation to bring you back to center. And on your next exhalation, left hand slides out. Roll to your left. And just keep moving this way. Once you're completed, an equal number on both sides. Let's come back to the middle of the mat, belly down. We'll bring your palms down flat on the mat with the heel of your hands down by your low ribs, and then press down through your hands up to your neutral tabletop position, and then walk your hands forward. One more time, dial your index fingers open just slightly. Curl your toes under, press yourself back for downward facing dog. And just notice how it feels to be in downward facing dog after all that movement. Notice what you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling more open, maybe you're feeling a little fatigue. Maybe you still feel stiff. Just whatever it is, just notice. And then lowering your knees back down to the mat. We'll come to sit in Vajrasana, Thunderbolt pose. Remember, if this is no good on your knees, you can slide a block or two in between your feet, raise your height up, or you can just come sit on your bottom, either on the mat or on top of the block. We'll bring both arms out to the side, cross your right arm over your left arm, grab for your opposite elbow if you're going to or shoulder rather, if you're going to stay here. Focus on lifting your elbows up. If you want to move into glute arms, slide the fingers of your left hand into your right hand. Tuck your chin, lift up through the crown of your head a little bit. Maybe take a little movement here, just shift around for a few breaths and kind of figure out what's at stake, where you're tight, what needs to relax, what needs to engage. You can get some information about the pose, and then when you're ready, you can let it go. And just breathe into the sensations. Just soften into whatever's arising. Welcome it and breathe. Releasing your hands. Let's bring them out to the side again. Turn your palms up toward the ceiling. Reach back, lift your chest, really opening up through the chest. Maybe lift your head up as well a little bit. Make yourself big. Spin your thumbs back down toward the floor. Pinkies up toward the ceiling. Good. And then we'll cross the other way. This time we'll go left over right. Either grabbing for the opposite shoulder and lifting the elbows, or moving into glute arms by sliding the fingertips of your right hand into your left hand. Tuck your chin. Lift your fingertips. Maybe press your forearms toward the wall in front of you. Let's move our feet out to the side. We'll come down onto our backs again like we started off the practice. Once you're here, let's take your hands out to the side and pick up both feet. Knees are bent at 90-degree angles, ankles are bent at 90-degree angles, hips too. And then on your exhalation, just let both of your knees drop over to the right. And then use your inhalation to come back to center. And on your exhalation, drop both of your knees over to the left. And then inhale back to center. And just keep moving this way for a few rounds of breath. Once you've done both sides an equal number of times, we'll come back to neutral, drop the sole of your left foot down onto the mat, bend through your right knee, and you can either grab for your shin or the back of your knee as you draw your right knee in towards your armpit. If you want to extend the left leg long, it might feel good just to lengthen out. Flex through both feet so that your toes are pointed back towards your knees. Breathing. And release your right foot back down through the mat. Bend your left knee, bring your hands to your shin or to the back of your knee. Wave your fingers together, draw your left knee in toward your chest or your left armpit. Extend the right leg long, flex through both feet. Continue breathing. Releasing both legs long out on the mat. Reach your arms overhead if you want to weave your fingers together and invert the palms. Pressing them toward the wall behind you. Flex through your feet. Draw your legs together. Resist your thighs back down against the mat. Draw your shoulder blades away from your ears even as you reach back through your hands, the palm of your hands, your fingertips. Continue breathing. Releasing both hands back down alongside your hips, palms facing up toward the ceiling. Let's take a moment to check in with how you're feeling. If you have anything else that you'd like to do before you move into your final rest, take a few minutes to do whatever you need to do. A little movement here, a little movement there. And feel good to take a happy baby, or if you want to do something a little more vigorous while your body's warmed up, you can go ahead and play around with that. Let's take the next minute or so to do what you need to do, and if you're moving right into Savasana, your final rest, you can join me here. Just find your way down. Make yourself comfortable. I'm going to slide a bolster or folded blanket underneath your knees. Go ahead. Whatever you need to do, so that you can just play around with the practice of letting go, doing nothing, and enjoying the space that you've created by moving your body and working with your breath and your awareness. Nothing special you need to do with your body or your breathing.
Just letting the thoughts come and go. If you find yourself getting carried away on a train of thought, and you notice that it's happened, just let it go. See if you can return back to that simple feeling of your being. So if you would like to continue with your final rest, feel free to stay here for as long as you like. If you're ready to start to exit your Savasana, wiggle your fingers and your toes, and then gradually start to introduce some movement back into your wrists and your ankles. Start to deepen your breathing. When you feel ready to stretch overhead, it might feel good. Bend through your knees and then roll to one side. Use the strength of your arms to press yourself up seated. Remember that if it's useful for you to add a little height underneath your hips, slide a block or a bolster or a folded blanket underneath your hips, go ahead. Sit up nice and tall. Release the low belly. Close the eyes. Let the tongue come down from the roof of your mouth. Bring your attention to your breath as it enters and exits at the tip of your nose. And we'll engage with the practice of samavriti, equal fluctuation of the breath, for a few minutes. On your next inhalation, add a silent count, and then make your exhalation last the same amount of time. So if you inhale for a count of 6, exhale for a count of 6. If you inhale for a count of 9, exhale for a count of 9. Let's try to find something that feels comfortable and stick with it. And don't worry about constantly trying to stretch out the time. If your mind wanders away from the count, just gently bring it back.
with your next exhalation. Release the count, release the technique. Bringing your palms together, prayer position. Let's take a moment for the practice of gratitude. See if you can bring into your heart and into your mind whatever it is that you feel grateful for, and see if you can connect with it in your imagination in such a way that you can feel the feeling of gratitude in your body. So just keep thinking of things that you're grateful for, maybe one after another, maybe lingering over a few things, and see if you can start to feel that feeling of gratitude in your body. Just practicing, finding it, being aware of it, cultivating it. Thanks so much for sharing your practice today. To close, I'll chant Om Shanti 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 Hi. Feel free to join me if you like. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanks for sharing your practice, everyone, today. Namaste. I hope you're hanging in there. If you have any questions about the practice or have any questions for me, you can leave them in the comments below, or you can reach out to me through the YouTube page. I hope, like I said, I hope you're hanging in there, and I hope to see you again soon. And in the meantime, I hope everyone stays well and keeps practicing. Take care.